Hello, and thanks for joining me today. Here I've got the Sizzix Bigs die. This one was designed by Lynda Kanase, and it's the mini album die. I've already created two, and I'll show you the style of the two. This one uses the actual spine that comes in the die set to create some simple fold-out pages, and so that is probably more along the lines of how the die was meant to be used. This one, I punched some extra holes and then turned it into a little bit more of a traveler's notebook. So I just cut down my own little books, and I have a long reach stapler, so I just stapled right in the fold there and created a mini traveler's journal. And what I'll be creating on camera today is a third version. This will be a little notepad book. And so here are the cover pieces. So one end of the die will cut your cover pieces, and you can even use it to cut pages in your book if you'd like. And the die also cuts banners and things to decorate your mini album with, along with some spine pieces. And I'll only be using the covers and the outer spine piece. I've already put some double-sided adhesive as close to all four edges as I can manage, and then I just squiggled on some liquid adhesive so that you get a nice permanent bond. And I've die cut this out of 3 layers. So I've got the a pattern paper for the outside of the cover. This layer that's in the center is 110-pound black cardstock, and then the final layer is going to be another piece of pattern paper on the inside front cover. And I've already assembled this exactly the same way for the back cover. So I'll go ahead and burnish that, and then lay something heavy on it because there is some liquid glue there, and I'll set that aside to dry. Now I'll go ahead and die cut the spine piece. So all the way to the opposite end of the book cover is a section where you can die cut the outer spine to your book. And I'm actually using the Sizzix texture roll. They have it in a lot of different colors, a lot of different finishes, but I'm using it in their, I guess it's like a matte black. And the fantastic thing about this material is that it's sort of like craft text, if you're familiar with that. It's really durable, really strong. You could crumple it, you can emboss it, you can get it wet, you can wash it in the washing machine. It's sort of like, if you're not familiar with craft text, it's sort of like the material that on the back of your jeans where the brand is often placed. It's sort of like that. And so that makes it perfect for spine construction like this because it's really durable. So as you open and close the notebook, this is going to hold up over time. So similar to the cover pieces, I'm going to run adhesive as close to the edge as I can get it, burnish it really well, and then we'll be sticking our cover pieces to that. Now, before I get to that, this is the little notepad that I created. And so all you have to do is just run some liquid glue to the top, at the top. And I used Lineco pH Neutral, which is actually a bookbinding glue, so it is meant for this. And I'm going to create a little pocket here to set my notepad in. The probably the longest part of this project was to create that notepad because it does take several layers of glue, and you do want to let it dry in between each layer. And I've got a stack of maybe 80 to 90 sheets there. I cut it down to 2 3/4 by 4 3/8. But if you actually cut that the notepad paper down to 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, you'll be able to fit exactly 8 pages on a standard US letter size paper with no waste. So I think my future ones I'll cut to that dimension, and you should be able to get 8 pages per sheet of paper. My pocket here I cut at 3 3/4 by 2 3/8, and I just scored 3/8 of an inch along the 3 edges. I highly recommend, instead of gluing it down in the order that I've done here, instead glue down the bottom edge first And then before you glue down the two side edges, I recommend running a line of Scotch tape right along the glue tab at the bottom there. And what that does is it just helps transition, smooth out the transition so that when you slot something into that pocket, it doesn't get caught up or hung up on that that bottom glue tab. It's not a huge deal. You can definitely manage to get something all the way to the bottom of the pocket without too much effort. But if you just want things to go effortless and smooth for whoever you're making this notebook for, then that's something that I recommend, because then they won't have any issues at all. So to attach our covers, I'm doing the exact same thing where along as close to the edge as possible, I'm going to run some strong dry adhesive. And the reason why I do that is because I want, edge to edge a full stick so that nothing, there aren't any gaps, there aren't any areas that aren't glued down. And then with my liquid adhesive, I don't have to worry about getting that so close to the edge. I can kind of just sort of spread that out in between, and don't have to worry about liquid glue kind of oozing all over the place. So then I'll give that a really good burnish, and our project is pretty much complete. So this is a really, really quick project to put together if you're looking for an easy, quick gift idea. And what I'll probably do is when I give this away, I'll make an extra little notepad. And as you can see there, it tears away really easily. So that's the beauty of creating a little notebook like this. Is it can be just like a little scratch pad, and it's small enough that you could fit it in your pocket, fit it in your purse, and I just think it's a fantastic size, and the whole project came together really, really nicely. The last thing I'm doing here is actually to punch a hole in the center of the spine, and so I measured this to be, I think, 2 3/8 of an inch in. And I'm punching a 1/8 inch hole. I've just got a piece of elastic here that I'm going to feed a charm through. And the charm just helps to prevent you from pulling this piece of elastic all the way through. So it stays kind of stuck in the book. And I'll go ahead and just tie that off in the center here. And once I'm happy with where it's at, I can just put a dot of glue in that knot so that that's also nice and permanent as well. And I can trim off the ends just to make that look a little bit neater. But that's essentially the project complete. And as I mentioned, I'll probably create a refill notebook as well when I give this away, so that when they go through their first notepad, they'll have a backup one. That's my project for today, and if you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. Until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!